Two women, same hospital, same shift, same paycheck every other Friday for 23 years. One of them retired last spring with $134,000 in savings, no debt, and a paid-off house in Decatur. The other one retired the same month with $5,800 in credit card debt, a car note with 11 months left, and a savings account she described to her daughter as not what I planned. Same income, same city, same number of working years, completely different outcomes. What separated them wasn't luck. It wasn't a degree, a hot stock tip, or a rich relative. It was 10 habits so quiet, so unglamorous, so completely invisible from the outside that most people scroll right past them. Stay with me, because by habit 7, you'll understand something about money that most people spend their entire working lives missing. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. It's 2001, Piedmont Hospital, Atlanta, Georgia. Cheryl and Donna are both hired the same week as medical billing coordinators. Same department, same starting salary, $38,000 a year. Same parking deck on Peachtree Road, same break room, same Friday direct deposit. From the outside, identical starting lines. Cheryl drives a 6-year-old Camry she bought used during her last year at Georgia State. There's a crack in the passenger side mirror she's been meaning to fix. She brings lunch in a bag from home, usually something from Sunday's dinner, portioned out the night before. She has a thermos she refills at the break room machine. She is not trying to be frugal, she just hasn't found a reason to change. Donna drives a leased Accord, new silver monthly payment of $340. She eats at the cafe on the ground floor most days, sometimes twice. She has strong opinions about the coffee there. She upgraded her apartment 18 months after getting the job because the new place had a gym and better light. The extra $190 a month felt manageable on the new salary. It was manageable. That's the thing about lifestyle inflation. It's always manageable in the month it happens. On paper, these two women are the same person in the same moment. By 2024, when both retire at 61, Cheryl has $134,000 in savings and owns her home outright. Donna has $5,800 in credit card debt and 11 months left on a car she's not sure she can keep. They earned the same money for over 2 decades. So, what happened? This is not a story about luck, not about investment genius, not about which of them married better. It's about something far more uncomfortable. 10 boring habits that either compound wealth or silently drain it. One ordinary decision at a time. Here is the number that should haunt you. The median American household earns around $74,000 a year. Over a 30-year working career, that's more than $2.2 million flowing through a single household. $2.2 million. And yet the median American retires with less than $89,000 in savings. Where did the other $2.1 million go? Not to one bad investment. Not to one catastrophic loss. Not to a scam or a medical emergency or a divorce, though any of those can take their share too. It went to 1,000 small decisions, repeated daily, for decades. Each one reasonable in isolation. Each one invisible in the moment. The slightly nicer apartment. The car that felt appropriate for someone at this stage of her career. The lunch that cost $14 because it was raining and she didn't feel like walking back to the office to get the bag she'd left in the fridge. Together, devastating. The math doesn't care about the reasons. It only runs in one direction. In 1996, Thomas Stanley and William Danko published The Millionaire Next Door after studying real millionaires for 20 years. Not celebrities, not inheritance recipients. Ordinary people who built 7-figure net worths on ordinary income. Their findings shocked everyone. The single most consistent predictor of wealth was not income, it was frugality. The people who built wealth were simply the people who kept more of what they earned. Here is exactly how they did it. Habit 1. They drove the math, not the status. The average new car payment today is $735 a month. Let that settle. That is $8,820 a year for a vehicle that loses 25 to 30% of its value in year 1 alone. You finance $44,000. By your 12th payment, the car is worth $30,800. You've paid over $8,000 in installments. The asset has dropped $13,200 in value. That is not a purchase. That is a transfer of your wealth to someone else's balance sheet. A reliable used vehicle, a Toyota, a Honda, something 5 to 7 years old, has already absorbed that depreciation curve. Insurance is cheaper, registration is cheaper, repair costs on proven models are predictable. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. If you invest that $735 a month into a simple index fund at 7% annually, you will have approximately $160,000 in 15 years, not counting lower insurance, not counting avoided loan interest. Just the raw differential between new and used. The typical American buys 8 to 12 vehicles in a lifetime. Each new car represents $30,000 to $50,000 in depreciation and financing costs that could have compounded instead. Cheryl drove used cars for 23 years. Every single one of them. She never once apologized for it. Donna leased, then financed, then leased again. The car you drive is either building someone else's wealth or building yours. There is no third option. But here's the habit that quietly destroys more household budgets than any car payment ever could. And it happens before you even leave the house. Habit 2. They planned what they ate before they planned anything else. The average household spends $510 a month on groceries. Households that plan around 4 to 5 rotating staple meals consistently spend 30 to 40% less. That's $150 to $200 saved per month. Roughly $2,200 a year. From dinner. Monday is rice and beans. Tuesday is chicken and roasted vegetables. Wednesday is pasta. Thursday is soup from whatever's left. Friday is eggs. Boring, repetitive, effective. But the savings go beyond money. When you know what you're cooking, you know exactly what to buy. Your grocery list becomes automatic. You stop wandering aisles. You stop buying ingredients for recipes you'll never make. Decision fatigue, the kind that costs you money in every department of the store, disappears. During the Great Depression, the households that survived best were not the richest, they were the most systematic. They had patterns. They had routines. They eliminated variability. That principle has not changed in 90 years. But even the best meal plan cannot save you from habit 3. The one that silently pulls $1,500 out of the average household every single year without a single person noticing. Habit 3. They treated their kitchen like a balance sheet. The average American household wastes 30 to 40% of the food it purchases. For a typical family, that is $1,500 a year thrown directly into the garbage. The milk that expires untouched. The vegetables rotting in the crisper, the leftovers pushed to the back of the fridge and forgotten. The pantry staples that passed their date because no one planned to use them. This is not carelessness. This is by design. The grocery store is engineered to make you overbuy. Bulk discounts incentivize excess. A full cart feels like abundance even when half of it will never be eaten. The fix is brutally simple. Before you buy more, use what you already have. 1. Use what's in the house. Week per month reduces food waste by 40 to 50%. That's $600 to $750 in direct annual savings. But it requires something uncomfortable. Actually looking at what you own. Open the freezer. Find the frost-covered meat from 3 months ago. Open the pantry. Find the canned chickpeas, the dried lentils, the rice sitting untouched since February. Build meals around what already exists before it becomes waste. Businesses do not let inventory rot on shelves. Your household should not either. Now, habit 4 is the most argued about on this list. You've heard the coffee debate, but stay with me. Because the real number is not what most people quote. Habit 4. They made the coffee. A daily premium coffee from a chain costs $6 to $8. Home coffee costs under $1. The annual difference is $1,500 to $2,300. That's the small number. Invested at 7% over 30 years, that daily cup of purchased convenience becomes approximately $220,000. $220,000 for coffee. The coffee shop is not selling you caffeine. It's selling manufactured convenience and the belief that making coffee at home is somehow less sophisticated. It is not. A quality coffee maker costs $40. Good beans cost $15 a pound and yield about 30 cups. Daily prep takes 4 minutes. Now extend this to every beverage. Bottled water versus filtered tap. Purchased juices versus making your own. A $13 smoothie versus a $45 blender. And bulk frozen fruit. The beverage industry generates hundreds of billions annually by selling you things you could make at home for a fraction of the cost. Every purchase is a choice. Most people make it without thinking. The quietly wealthy make it deliberately. We are now at the halfway point of this video. And this is statistically where most people stop watching. Don't. Because habit 5 contains the single biggest daily wealth leak that most working women never sit down and actually calculate. Habit 5. They pack the bag. A bought lunch costs $13 to $19. A packed meal costs $3 to $5. 5 purchased lunches a week adds up to $3,380 to $4,940 a year on midday meals alone. Bring lunch from home, and that drops to $780 to $1,300. The gap is $2,100 to $3,600 every single year. Over a 40-year career, invested and compounded, that gap becomes several $100,000. Here's what no one tells you. This doesn't stop at the workplace. Airports, theme parks, road trips, tourist destinations, everywhere you go, food purchased outside the home carries a 200 to 400% markup. The $15 airport sandwich cost $3 to make. The $24 theme park meal cost $5 to pack. 15 minutes the night before a trip. Sandwiches made, snacks packed, water bottles filled. $60 to $110 saved every travel day. Somewhere along the way, packing your own food became associated with not having enough. Buying out became associated with having arrived. That perception is manufactured. And it is expensive. But what if the habits you're building at the checkout are quietly undoing everything you've saved at lunch? Habit 6 is one most people have genuinely never considered. And it costs the average household thousands a year without them ever realizing it. Habit 6, they put friction back in. Online shopping is more efficient. It is more efficient at separating you from your money. Studies consistently show people spend 15 to 30% more shopping online than in physical stores. Here's why. In a store, you feel the weight of items in your cart. You watch the total accumulate at checkout. Those friction points create natural pause moments where you reconsider. Online, that friction is completely eliminated. One click, saved cart details. Algorithm-driven recommendations for things you didn't know you wanted. Amazon's stated business strategy is friction elimination. The easier they make purchasing, the more you purchase. This is not speculation. It's in their shareholder reports. The solution is to reintroduce friction deliberately. Shop in person when possible. Delete saved payment information from websites. Remove shopping apps from your phone. Apply a 48-hour waiting rule for any online purchase over $50. Every friction point is a moment where you might choose to keep your money instead. Inconvenience protects wealth. Habit 7. They wore the same things on purpose. The average American woman spends around $1,900 a year on clothing. Most of it is worn fewer than 10 times before being discarded or forgotten. Fast fashion is designed around this cycle. Trends change quarterly. Prices are low enough to encourage impulse buying. Quality is poor enough to guarantee replacement. A capsule wardrobe breaks the entire cycle. A small, curated collection of quality versatile basics that mix and match across seasons. 3 pairs of quality trousers, 5 neutral tops, 2 blazers, 1 dress that works for everything. Quality shoes in 2 styles, under 30 total items. The upfront cost is higher. A $180 pair of shoes replaces 5 $45 pairs. A $90 blouse lasts years instead of months. But women using capsule wardrobes reduce clothing spending by 50 to 70%. That is $950 to $1,330 a year. There's a second benefit that's harder to quantify. Decision fatigue disappears. Every morning spent deciding what to wear depletes the cognitive resources you need for far more important choices later in the day. The quietly wealthy don't dress poorly. They dress deliberately. Now we move to the 3 habits that are less about cutting spending and more about systematically building something, starting with the one that is mathematically guaranteed to work every single time it's applied. Habit 8. They paid themselves before anyone else got the chance. The standard financial flow for most people goes like this. Earn, spend, save whatever is left. The problem is structural. There is never anything left. Expenses expand to fill available income. This is not a willpower failure. It is human psychology. Predictable, universal, and completely beatable if you know it's coming. Pay yourself first inverts the equation completely. When your paycheck arrives, before any bill, before groceries, before anything, a fixed amount automatically transfers to savings and investments. Not what feels comfortable, a predetermined amount that moves first. Automated completely. Set the transfer for the day after payday. Move the money before you see it. Remove the decision from the process. People who automate savings accumulate 73% more over 10 years than those who save manually. The moment of temptation never arrives because the money is already gone. But here's the trap that quietly destroys: pay yourself first the moment your income goes up. Habit 9. When they earned more, they lived the same. When your income increases, what happens? For most people, lifestyle immediately inflates to match. The raise enables a nicer apartment. The promotion justifies a new car. The bonus funds a bigger vacation. This is lifestyle inflation. And it is the reason so many high-earning women retire with nothing. Research from the Federal Reserve shows households earning over $150,000 a year save at roughly the same rate as households earning $75,000. They consume more. They do not accumulate more. The counter is counterintuitive but decisive. When you receive a raise, change nothing for 24 months. Continue living at your previous income level. Invest the entire differential automatically. Do not negotiate with yourself. If you earn $60,000 and receive a $10,000 raise, the standard path consumes it immediately. 0 additional savings despite earning 17% more. The 2 years behind path invests $10,000 a year for 24 months. At 7% return, that's $21,000 before you've adjusted a single thing about your life. Apply this to every raise across a career, and the differential becomes hundreds of thousands of dollars. The quietly wealthy don't look wealthy because they're living below their income. They're living behind it. Cheryl got 4 raises over 23 years. She adjusted her lifestyle for none of them. Not immediately, not for the first 2 years after each one. The money went somewhere else first, every single time. Donna got the same raises. Each one was absorbed before the next quarter arrived. Not wasted, just consumed, cleanly and completely, by a life that had learned to expand the moment space appeared. By 2024, when both women cleared out their desks on the same Friday afternoon, the difference between them wasn't visible. Same cardboard box, same handshake from the department head, same last walk to the parking deck. The difference was in the account, the one that had been running quietly in the background for 23 years, unmoved by whatever was happening in the foreground. The final habit is the one most people dismiss as hustle culture. It's not, and the math on this one will surprise you. Habit 10, they built a second door. Self-made millionaires average 3.2 sources of income. This is not about working multiple jobs until you collapse. It's about converting what you already do well into supplementary revenue. Your primary job has a ceiling. Hours are fixed, raises are incremental. You trade time for money at a rate someone else controls. A productive skill, monetized on your own terms, breaks that ceiling. Writing, consulting, teaching, designing, bookkeeping, alterations, tutoring, creating content. These are not second jobs, they are monetized expertise. The key distinction is sustainability. A second job drains you. A monetized skill energizes you, because you already know how to do it. Find what you do that others pay to learn, then charge for it. The math is straightforward. An extra $500 a month from a skill you already have is $6,000 a year. Over 20 years invested at 7%, that becomes $263,000 from something you were already good at. Not from hustle culture, from not leaving value on the table. A single income stream is a vulnerability. The quietly wealthy understand this long before they ever need to. 10 habits applied consistently produce this. Used vehicle instead of financing new. $8,800 a year saved. Meal rotation, $2,200 a year. Using what you already have, $700 a year. Home coffee and beverages, $1,800 a year. Packed lunches and travel food, $2,500 a year. In-person shopping with friction, $1,200 a year. Capsule wardrobe, $1,000 a year. Monetized skill, $6,000 a year in additional income. Conservative total, approximately $24,200 a year in savings and income. Invested at 7% annually for 25 years. Between $1.4 million and $1.7 million. Not from inheritance, not from a 6-figure salary, not from timing the market. From a used car, a packed lunch, homemade coffee, and 25 years of quiet repetition. That is the mechanism Cheryl understood. That is the mechanism Donna never did. Look at every generation of women who built wealth from modest income. Depression-era households, post-war families, immigrant women who arrived with nothing and retired with options. The habits are identical every single time. They drove vehicles until they could not be repaired. They rotated the same meals. They wasted nothing. They saved first. They stayed behind their income regardless of how it grew. They found ways to earn from their skills beyond their primary job. These are not secrets. They are patterns. And patterns work because they align with arithmetic. Small amounts saved consistently, compounded over time, become large amounts. That is not philosophy. That is math. Every day you are either extracting wealth from your future self or building it. There is no neutral position. Cheryl understood that. She just never made it complicated. This week, you'll get a paycheck, or an invoice will arrive, or a purchase will almost happen. In that moment, that small, ordinary, completely forgettable moment, is where everything Cheryl knew lives. Not in the big decisions, in that one. On her last day at Piedmont, Cheryl cleared out her desk in 12 minutes. A photo, a cardigan she kept for cold days, and the thermos, the same one she'd been refilling at the break room machine since 2001. 23 years, same thermos. She carried it to the parking deck, set it on the passenger seat of a paid-off car, and drove home to a paid-off house. Nobody photographed it. Nobody noticed. That's the whole story. What are you building with yours?